Welcome back to Business Life. Let's do our main story for tonight. And the local currency could soon cross the dreaded 5 cedi mark on the interbank market. That is, if immediate steps are not taken to deal with a limited supply of dollars on the market. It has already reached 4 cedis 96 pesos based on quotes from some major banks on the market. Now, some industry players have attributed a challenge to limited supply of dollar on the market. So how do we actually deal with this situation, and can we permanently arrest the Cedi, as some people have suggested? Well, Courage Buti of Data Bank is here to help us. Courage, thanks so much for joining us on Business Live.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, let's talk about the performance of the Cedi. Is it a domestic issue or an external issue?
Well, very good evening to our listeners. I think it's more of an external issue.
Okay.
I mean, in this time and under the circumstances. We all know a number of factors affect currency performance. The level of import internally, the sources of supply, your level of export as well, how much of revenue you could generate from your export, and all of that play a big role. Plus government expenditure and the level of stability in the economy and how that can attract foreign investment. It appears that in 2017, 2018, early year, when the currency was really stable, it was the confidence in the macroeconomy that actually attracted a lot of foreign investment who were looking for long-term exposures to government of Ghana debt. But it turned out from the second quarter that sentiment towards the emerging market as a whole actually changed because of happenings in Argentina, happenings in places like Turkey, and then of course the rise in interest rates in the US, and then the associated optimism that actually came with those rise in interest rates and the firming economic performance. So typically a foreign investor who is looking at Ghana and other African countries would consider first of all happenings in the US. If interest rates are strengthening there and they are strengthening on stronger growth, they are strengthening on recovery in the general macroeconomy, they want to project how long is this going to go. Those are safer havens than our market. And so if they could get a 3.8, 3.9% on a 10-year bond in the US, they wouldn't come for Ghana for
So it means that there's lack of confidence in the market
so
now.
Those things, not any fault of ours, but growth in the US, surge in interest rates in the US, and then of course emerging market woes from places like Argentina, Kenya actually spread a contagion through emerging market. And so you could realize that quarter one, all African currencies seem to be performing very well. Into quarter two, almost all of them reversed.
And the rand is suffering as well.
Rand is equally suffering. So it couldn't be an internal issue. Principally, our macroeconomy is looking good. Inflation is on a path of decline, steady path of decline. Growth is still robust. I mean, and a lot of other macro fundamentals are good. Our fiscal deficit is still intact. And so the change in sentiment as a result of development outside, external headwinds, is a major driver of what we are seeing on the market currently.
I understand you perfectly, and you seem to have touched on issues that are affecting the Cedi. But again, it appears that at a certain season, we see that the Cedi doesn't perform well towards the end of the year.
That's true.
Consistently, Christmas is coming, and it appears that people try to hoard the Cedi. So do you also think, apart from all these factors that you spoke about earlier, is it a seasonal issue as well?
So it's early days yet. I mean, the Cedi's woes are normally towards end of quarter one and late in the quarter four. Towards end of quarter one, because that is when companies are declaring profits, they are initiating repatriation and all of that, and then importations during the Christmas, the letter of credits that were established are now being settled, and then the FX demand pressures in quarter one poses pressure. So you normally expect extreme depreciation in quarter one. Then towards the end of year, Christmas period, people start importing. We are barely in September, and then we are even yet to enter quarter four. Normally the pressures start from November, where you see Yuletide-related dollar demand around
So
November.
It could get worse, I mean.
Yeah, so it could get worse. I mean,
hitting
going
five
forward. Yeah.
5 cedis.
Well,
we are praying not to get there.
Yeah,
but also, what dollar trading level will you say is appropriate for the economy, depending on what we are seeing now?
That's difficult to say because you don't, as a city, I can't tell the sources of demand and of the dollar and all of that. But we know that once Bank of Ghana has strong reserve position, and by strong, something that could cover at least 3 months of import cover, that confidence runs through the market that there won't be crisis, because if there is, Bank of Ghana will come in and then intercede in the market to kind of shove the currency. So currently we have reserve in excess of 3.5 months, and then that should give some confidence to
all right, Carrie.
traders.
So yesterday, MTN also started trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange, but it failed to fly initially, closing trading at 75 pesos. I know it's early days yet, but what do you make of MTN's performance?
Well, I'm not surprised. Look at it this way. MTN wanted to raise some 3.4 billion also from our market. They ended at 1.14 billion. Everybody that applied for the shares got it. And then so naturally, you don't expect the post-listing rush that comes. Normally that comes when some applications are rejected and the people still want position in the stock. Then you see that rush, early trading like rush that will cause prices to surge, and then a lot of vulture investors, like, they try to take advantage of those kind of early listing rise or surges to make profit and then exit the market. But here, everyone that applied for MTN shares got it. Right?
Is it all of them?
Everybody that applied got
Really?
it. That is really what it is, and then we got less than what they
amount.
actually intended to. So naturally, it is those who probably wanted to buy but didn't have the money at the time that may be rushing to buy. Yesterday, it traded sub 5 million shares, but then today there was no trade at all in the stock. And price, yes, early trade I had yesterday moved to some 78 pesos,
and then it came
but
down
reverted
to
75.
Exactly.
Rightly as expected, because everybody got what they wanted. You don't expect so much pressure in the
All
market.
right, so
at this time
how
for
will
the
their
stock.
performance, both positively and negatively, impact on the stock exchange, the stock market?
MTN is a good stock. Straight away, they come in and they raise the market capitalization by some 10 billion, from 55 billion to 65 billion. And then you expect that they, being a market leader, dominant as they are in the call space and then in the mobile money space, and then they have plans for expansion and all of that in the market, you expect that their year after year profit outturns and all of that will drive trades in the stock. It is still an interesting stock, so we expect it to be kind of perform very well on the market.
We'll keep an eye on the stock market to see how they perform. Thanks so much, Kariboti, for coming on Business Live. It's a pleasure having you.